This is Shy,
And this is Megan,
and this is the Magical Happy Hour.
a podcast where we share our love for Disney and theme parks, travel tips, food.
And anything else we feel like talking about.
It's episode 21. We're going to be talking about creepy Disney incidents, happenings, weird stuff.
Yeah, some unfortunate Disney events.
Yeah. But of course, we'll start with news, some happier things.
So, November 6th, Magic Keys go back on sale. So, if you are interested in getting a Magic Key, you can get into the queue as early as 8:45 Pacific Standard Time, and then sales begin at 9 a.m.
You can just wait to renew your Magic Key if you already have one, right? You don't have anything to do with that date if you're just renewing.
Correct. So if you're renewing, you get up to 30 days prior to like whenever your renewal date is. Once your renewal date has passed, you're no longer able to renew, and you would have to then purchase a Magic Key.
Gotcha. I wasn't sure.
Yes, so I luckily had my Magic Key was up to expire on like the 16th, and I think I renewed it somewhere around the 10th, and then like a day or two later they increased the prices.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I was really yeah.
Hey.
I was like, wow, lucky me.
Good thing you're on top of it.
If I had waited until my renewal date, I would have had to pay more.
That's wild.
Yeah.
But good timing then. Good timing.
Yes, excellent timing. I would also like to say regarding the Magic Keys, it has been really unpredictable how long they're on sale for. Like in the past, they've done these quick little sales where it literally closes that day or the next day. It's been open for a week or two, and then it's been open for months. So I would say if you're really, really wanting one, I would try to get one on the 6th, and hopefully the sales last longer than that day. But if not, like I know Megan and I both have some friends that have recently moved to Southern California that have been itching to get Magic Keys because they've been going to the parks frequently and are having to pay for, full price tickets each time that they go. And a lot of times for them, they're going after work. So they're only getting like a few hours in the park. So it would be definitely worth it for them to invest. So I know they're planning on getting Magic Keys that day. Shout out Steve and Courtney.
I'm sure they're on top of it, but I'm sure you know other people. I know a couple other people too. I should probably text them and be like, hey, now's your chance.
Yeah.
Friggin' hop on or hop off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet. And once you get those Magic Keys, you can go visit the Hungry Bear Barbecue Jamboree because it's officially open.
Yes. Have you seen much about it since it's opened?
I've seen a few little reviews. I haven't looked too much into it because I kind of want to wait to see for myself, like not have anybody push their like I'm not sure how I feel about it yet, but I haven't looked into it too much. But from what I've seen, looks good so far. That pulled pork sandwich that they have looks tasty. I would super get that. Looks like they have like a couple different like lemonade options too, and always there for a lemonade. So I'm interested.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be
Just closed my door, like leaned on it. It's like, excuse you. Anyways.
I'm excited for this location because I never really eat here, and we have needed some barbecue in the park for a really long time.
Yeah, I think the only time I ate at the Hungry Bear was for the Fantasmic dining package, and that was because there was options other than a cheeseburger.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you a barbecue girl?
Not really, but I like a good barbecue. I like a rib. I like a pulled pork sandwich. I like a tri-tip. But it's one of those like very much hit or miss for me. Like I've had really good barbecue and not really liked it that much, but you know, get some store-bought stuff going on and pretty good to me.
Gotcha.
Oh, speaking of food, Disney announced the 2024 holiday experiences at Goofy's Kitchen, Storytellers Cafe, and the Hearthstone Lounge.
Okay, the Storytellers Cafe brunch with Mickey and Minnie in their pajamas. I want to go so bad, and I want to wear my pajamas too, and I want us all to be in pajamas.
I forgot that they were calling it yeah, it says Mickey's Holiday Pajama Party Breakfast and Brunch. Very cute.
It's literally so cute. I want to go so badly and just hang out with them in our PJs.
Well, it's being offered from November 19th to January 1st. So you'll have a little opportunity, a little bit of time to squeeze that in.
Mhm.
It sounds fun. Storytellers Cafe also has a holiday dinner. There's not going to be any characters during that dining experience, but it is an all you can eat buffet that's going to offer like holiday items, including for Thanksgiving.
Have you ever eaten at Storytellers?
I had to think about it, but no, I don't think I've eaten, excuse me, I don't think I've eaten anywhere in the Grand Californian.
Okay.
That's where it is, right? Am I wrong?
Oh, yeah, no, it's in the Grand.
Okay.
Um, I have never done any of their character experiences, but I have had dinner there and it was really, really good. What holiday experience are they having at Hearthstone Lounge?
Okay, I'm glad you asked because that's exactly what I was looking for because I think this one sounds absolutely so cute. I am concerned about the price point because I don't see that listed, but if you love Santa, hey, this sounds like it's going to be it because it's called Holiday Tea with Santa and Mrs. Claus at the Hearthstone Lounge and it's going to be offered on select days from December 3rd through December 24th, and you'll be able to join Santa and Mrs. Claus for a tea party.
That sounds really cute.
It does sound cute. They have some really cute pictures of like the treats that they're going to offer. It says like a selection of holiday bites. It's being advertised as an elevated experience. The Hearthstone Lounge is like very nice and definitely feels like an upscale lounge area in the resort. You'll get to sip tea and listen to jingle bells.
That's adorable.
The bookings open on Halloween. So that sounds good.
Oh, sweet.
Get on it.
Okay,
Hmm.
cool. And speaking of the holidays, they have been releasing their holiday merch. Have you seen any of it?
Oh, have they? I haven't seen anything yet.
So they have a new or two, at least two new spirit jerseys. One of them is green and it has holiday lights on it.
Hmm.
And the other is like a fuzzy red. Do you remember like it was like the piglet pink spirit jersey that was like pink and fuzzy and had white or not white, but like pink polka dots on it and it had like a matching backpack?
I don't, but that sounds that sounds pretty cute, honestly. I was picturing, I was like, ooh, no, when was that last year or was it a while ago?
It was either last year or the year before, the pink
Okay.
piglet.
Hmm.
But this one, it looks pretty much the same, except for that it's red. But it looks cute. I don't think I'll be purchasing either of these this year. However, I was sad that they weren't bringing back the Spirit jersey from last year because I had purchased one for me and one for a coworker, and I got us both larges. And then when I got home, I realized that someone had put an extra large on the large hanger, and it's
Oh no.
if you know Disneyland Spirit jerseys, you know they run a little bit big, which is usually nice. But this one is so unbelievably big. Like it fits like a triple XL on.
Oh my gosh, I
It is
bet.
huge, but it was gonna be too difficult to try to return, so I've kept it. Um, and maybe I'll try to figure out how to wear it as like a holiday
You're
dress
like,
or
"It's a
something.
dress." That's exactly what I was thinking. "It's a dress." I don't know how you would feel about it, but I can try to, like, take it in for you. I have been doing that with some of my T-shirts, like, changing them from a regular fitting T-shirt to, like, a baby tee. So,
Oh, I would love
let me
that,
know.
yeah. I honestly, the way that it's stitched, I feel like you would totally be able to do that because it has like it's like hand knitted look.
Sure,
So yeah, I'll send you a picture and uh, let me know if you think you can make it work because I would love that.
we'll talk. We'll talk.
Okay. Moving on to, I think, our last bit of news. There is a um, lounge that has opened in the Disneyland Hotel. It's called the Broken Spell Lounge, inspired by Sleeping Beauty. And it this isn't really a new lounge per se. It's just newly rethemed, but something that looks really interesting to me is that they are going to have live entertainment every night at different times,
Oh, nice.
which is really great. We need more live music, live entertainment in the parks. So this isn't necessarily inside of the park, but anyone can go into the Disneyland hotel and enjoy their amenities, which I don't think many people know that you can do that. Like you
Mm,
can go into the restaurants of the hotels, even if you're not staying there. So you can definitely still go check this out. And if you do, let us know what you think of it.
yeah, definitely. It's funny because it's very apparent that Disney inside the parks has scaled back on live entertainment in general. But
Hmm.
in downtown Disney and apparently in the hotels, it seems like they're just adding to it because there's a new stage in downtown Disney.
Hmm.
Splitsville has their outside alley area that has had live music the last 3 times I've gone.
Hmm.
And then also the bar area of the Jazz Kitchen has live music a lot of the times too. I'm like, oh, like a piano player and everything. So it's really nice to see all of that happening in downtown Disney. Unfortunate that it's not in the parks too, but I'll take what I can get. We'll take what
Right.
we can get.
Yeah.
Okay, well, lots of good news before we get into some of this stuff. Maybe we should do a little disclaimer that some of the things that we're going to talk about are
A bit
decently
morbid.
graphic and
Yeah.
morbid and not super kid friendly probably. So I know that we have some kids that listen, and even though we want you to maybe have your parent listen first,
Maybe just skip this
or
episode.
maybe skip this one. It'll be okay. You know, we care and we are going to be caring about everything, but it's not super easy.
Yeah, it's they're not easy events to talk about, but they happened and I think a lot of them are really interesting.
Mhm.
And these victims and the victims of accidents, they're important to talk about. And it's Halloweeny season, so it kind of opens up the door for us to talk about a little bit of spooky, creepy, morbid-esque events that have happened in Disneyland. Megan and I are both into true crime, so it kind of touches a little bit on that side of our interests as well.
Disney does its best to remain pretty pure and nice, but you know, we're all just living our lives and things certainly happen. So this is a little bit of the dark side, I guess, of what can happen at Disney.
Megan, do you want to talk to us a little bit about some unexpected and one sort of expected closure that have taken place at Disneyland?
Yeah. So we know that Disneyland's open 365 days a year. So when there's an unexpected closure or an announcement that Disney might be closing, we know that's a pretty dramatic event must be going on, or something pretty serious must be happening. And the first one of those closures was in 1963. It was known as the National Day of Mourning. It was after the assassination of John F. Kennedy, our president at the time. So it was a day to spend reflecting on him and what happened. And I think it was probably a very wise choice for Disney to do this, not just out of respect, but also for their employees and giving them that space. The second closure occurred in 1994 after the Northridge earthquake. Disney World is much more acquainted with having to be closed due to a naturally occurring incident. I know they're usually dealing with the hurricanes. They've faced many days of closures due to weather, but it's a little bit more strange to hear about it out here in California. But we're definitely accustomed to earthquakes. On September 11th, 2001, I think we're, as Americans, are very familiar with the attacks on 9/11, and the park closed midday, early in the morning. People were in the parks and got the announcement that they were choosing to close the park. I think there was some fear of everyone's safety, or just the risk and potential, the anticipation of the unknown. It was a scary day for anyone that was, more, you know, cognizant of what was going on. I was very young, so it's not something that I really remember the day of, but reflect on with everyone else ever since then. And then the one fairly expected but still unexpected happened during the COVID-19 pandemic starting in March of 2020. And do you know when the parks reopened?
They it, they were closed for over a year. I want to say they reopened in April or May of 2021.
Yeah. So our year without Disneyland. But of course, that was for everyone's safety and the encouragement of people to stay inside and take care of themselves and not spread a virus. Or especially in those early days, it was super unknown what the potential of everything was. And of course, there's lots for us to reflect on now, but it's still a scary risk out there that lots of people take precautions about.
Yeah, I remember I was in nursing school, my final semester of nursing school, and we were sitting down to take our final before spring break, because the way it worked in my nursing school was the first half of the semester would be an entire class. So you would take that one class in that semester, and then the second half of the semester would be a completely different class.
Hmm.
So this was like our final, it was called 80 and 8, and this was our final for 80 and 8, and we were sitting down in a room all together. There were no masks or anything. And my professor came up and was talking to us. And she said, "Hey, you guys, you're going to take this test. I don't want you to worry. Things like this happen in healthcare all the time. We had the swine flu, we had this and that. And, you know, we'll we'll see you guys after the break." And we actually never went back to nursing school after that. Um, and I remember saying, as healthcare providers, a lot of us did really think that it was going to be something more similar to the flu. And I remember thinking, as long as Disneyland's open, I wasn't gonna take it too seriously. And then I remember being in the hospital at my clinical location where we got the announcement that Disneyland was going to close for the 2 weeks, and then, as we all know now, it extended for over a year. But that was kind of when it really hit me, like, wow, Disneyland's closing. Like, Disneyland doesn't close for anything. So that was when it really kind of hit all of us, like, wow, this is crazy. And then, as time went on and caring for patients, and it becomes more and more real, right? But I remember that was the first instance of it really hitting me, like, oh no. Oh no.
Oh no. Yeah, I remember my work trying to stay open for as long as they could, pretty much. And then they called us in literally on my birthday. My birthday is on March 19th to give us all the food from the walk-in because they're like, we have no idea when we're going to come back, even if it's in 2 weeks. Like, none of this food is going to be good anymore.
Yeah.
You're so thankful that they were able to do that, but so unfortunate that it was months until we were able to go back, and
Yeah.
even longer for Disney. But that is when I got into construction updates and everything.
Yeah.
So I learned a whole new side of Disney during that time so far away.
Man, if only we had started the podcast back then, I wonder.
Dude, I don't even know. That'd be so interesting, especially like I don't know.
But yeah, those are the four closures, the four official closures Disneyland has had since opening, which is not very many at all, really.
No, in almost 70 years? Yeah, 4 days or 4 days. 3 days and a year or so.
Mhm.
Pretty good track record.
Yes. So next we are going to be talking about one of the first deaths that occurred in Disneyland. So this occurred in 1966. Mr. Thomas Cleveland, according to the Press Telegram newspaper out of Long Beach, this man was struck by the monorail in June of 1966. So Thomas was attempting to sneak into grad night. In order to do this, he had to scale two chain linked fences. One was 6 feet tall and the other was 16 feet
Oh my
tall.
gosh.
Yes,
Determined.
he was determined. Um, Crazy at how he was even able to do that. It's documented that three security guards saw Cleveland just before he was being struck, and one of them shouted at him to get down, and they saw that Thomas attempted to crouch down between the track and a protective plastic canopy, but there was not enough space, and he ultimately was crushed by the monorail. The monorail operator, as well as the guests on the train, didn't notice Thomas, only reporting that they felt a bump and then the power went out. This next part is really crazy to me. They were only stuck for 10 minutes before a work car came and towed them to the Tomorrowland station.
Oh, right, because the power went out.
Right.
Okay. I was like, wait, I thought they didn't know. Oh my gosh. Hopefully those security guards didn't see either, but somebody would have had to go get him. And
The
it's
security
just,
guards did see it
oh, they did
happen.
see it.
Yeah, they did
Okay.
see it happen. Yeah.
That's so upsetting for everyone involved. Like, of course, he shouldn't have been doing that, but doesn't mean that he deserves to have his life taken from him. But
It was an
it's only
accident.
due to him. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an accident. It's really sad that something like that happened, but honestly, I really don't blame There's some of these
No.
things that we'll talk about where Disney was at fault, or at least like majorly contributed, but in this circumstance, uh, no.
No.
You absolutely there was no reason for him to have been doing this other than just foolishness. Unfortunately, being, teenage guy wanting to get into grad night, probably thinking he's going to do something super cool, and not realizing how dangerous this really was, and it cost him his life. It's really sad.
Yeah. Hopefully there's been, I'm sure there has been probably multiple times over, but more security measures in place to make sure that something like this can't happen again, even if somebody tries, um, other than just the two fences. Considering this was in 1966, I'm sure there's been many other precautions taken since then.
Hmm.
Talking about, unfortunately, a few other deaths that occurred actually inside the park. On June 1973, the first incident to occur at the Rivers of America happened. An 18-year-old and his 10-year-old brother decided to, try to make the most of their day at Disneyland by hiding in the park until closing time. And, they chose Tom Sawyer's Island because it seemed like the perfect place to avoid detection. It's pretty isolated. There's lots of caves and, nooks and crannies over there. They probably felt like that was the perfect spot and perfectly harmless. Unfortunately, after spending a few hours roaming the island, they then decided to leave. The younger boy didn't know how to swim, so his older brother tried to put him on his back and swim to, the other side of the river, so back into either Frontierland or New Orleans area. And, it, a 10-year-old, when you're not used to trying to hold somebody in the water, it's that's a very hard thing to attempt, and unfortunately, the older boy did end up drowning, but his younger brother was able to tread water long enough to be discovered by a ride operator who then rescued them.
I think I heard that the brother wasn't found until the next morning.
Yeah, yeah, you're right, which is so sad, so
Yeah,
scary.
yeah.
Not to make light of this incident, but to lighten the mood a little bit before moving on to the next one. When I originally heard this story, it was that they got left on the island. Like the
Mm.
island was closed and they were still on it. And then so they're like, "Oh, gotta go swim." And that's something that happened. I thought it was funny because that also is something that happened to Matt when he was a little kid. Yeah.
Oh
So my boyfriend, when he was a little child, his family are big Disney goers, and he got left on Tom Sawyer's Island, and I still laugh about that.
no! How did they leave their baby?
I don't know, but I mean, they were probably had a bunch of kids with them because
Mm.
one of his aunt's family, they have I think four kids who are all like a even younger than Matt probably was, and probably just distracted. They have his sister too, and this is me kind of guessing, but yeah. So I laugh about that, but then I learned this very real story, and it is not as funny anymore, especially because he didn't do it on purpose.
Oh, Matt, the lost boy.
The lost boy. He still holds a grudge against Tom Sawyer's Island.
I don't blame him. I probably would too.
So again, unfortunately, there was a second death that occurred on the rivers of America in June 1983, so 10 years after the first incident. A boy stole a rubber emergency raft from like a cast members only area of Tom Sawyer's Island and tried to use it to wander the rivers of America, but unfortunately capsized and then drowned.
That's terrible.
It's not great. It's not great, but don't run off and do things. It's risky. Just, we don't realize the risk in things until we're in the middle of it sometimes or it's too late.
Yeah, that's true. All right, girl, this one's all you. This one is especially awful, you guys. Just
And I this specifically, I think about this in it just pops into my brain sometimes because of how absolutely upsetting and tragic it is. But in 1974, cast member Debbie Stone, she was 18, began as a ride operator 2 weeks after the Carousel of Progress became America Sings. Late one evening while she was working the attraction, she unfortunately and inexplicably became caught between the attraction's rotating stages and was crushed to death. I mean, it's very upsetting to, I think, anybody that would hear this story, even to this day. Um, it's not actually known what happened, if it was, uh, if she wasn't like trained properly, or if she just like slipped and fell, or moved at the wrong time. But really scary to just be working your job and maybe not know the extent of the risks that are around you, and then become victim to those potential risks.
Yeah, it's heard that, like, the guests heard her screams, which is so traumatizing for everyone involved. And I heard that she was just standing too close to the wall, and that after this incident, they ended up making it the wall is actually became a breakaway wall,
Oh, yeah.
so that if something like this were to happen again, the wall would just break away instead of someone getting hurt.
Good precautions to take, breakaway walls. The attraction was closed temporarily after the incident, but was reopened 3 days later to continue on. And now there's
Seems
no
a little
attraction there.
soon, right?
3 days, yeah, it seems a little soon. Like, can we give it a week or something? Can we put a little distance between this tragedy?
Apparently not.
No, but there's no risk of this anymore because of breakaway walls and because of this attraction not existing.
Although I wish it did.
Yeah, that would be nice. But we got a cool Splash Mountain for a while with all those animatronics that they took from America Sings.
That's true. That's
Yeah,
true.
which we also don't have anymore, so fun.
So moving on to our next tragedy.
I was unfamiliar with this one, so I'm curious to hear about it.
Yeah, so I'm going to be talking about the first murder in Disneyland. Mr. Mel Yorba in 1981. He's the first person to be, and I believe the only person to be murdered in Disneyland. A fight broke out between these two young guys after Yorba supposedly pinched a girl's bottom, and the boyfriend of the girl, James Driscoll, fought Mel to the ground, where he then stabbed him twice before tossing the murder weapon into Sleeping Beauty Castle's moat, and then discarding his bloody garments into the women's bathroom. Yorba's family did end up suing the Disney company for failure to provide adequate treatment in order to protect the company's image. Instead of calling EMS, they sent out one of their nurses, employed by Disney, who worked on the young man for about 20 minutes before there's not much that one person can do. It's insane to me that that happened, but even then, they still did not call for EMS. They transported Yorba via an unmarked vehicle with no lights or sirens to a nearby hospital where he succumbed to his injuries, and Disney eventually settled the lawsuit that was initially filed by his family for $60 million. I'm not sure what the settlement amount ended up being for that, but yeah, Disney used to not call 911 because they didn't want the sirens and police activity to disrupt the fantasy reality or the fantasy image that is in when you're inside of Disneyland. They don't want the outside world in. And it led to, it potentially led to the death of this young man. I don't know. You can't say for sure that he would have survived with,
Sure.
EMS, but definitely would have had a better chance at survival. So really
Like,
sad that this happened.
immersion should never come at the cost of somebody's life or
Right.
or the risk of their health even. Like, why are we prioritizing anything over somebody that needs like medical help?
That is just how the value that they placed on image back then. I think that was like a societal thing, like
Sure. Yeah.
not necessarily like for us now we're like, oh my gosh, Disney, how could Disney do that? But I think it was something that could have potentially happened at a lot of places, because image was like so important.
Hmm. Now it makes me curious of how many people like had to either like suffer or be like whisked away because of like heat exhaustion, because now it's not even uncommon to see like medical staff trying to assist people who are,
Hmm.
I mean, many times just laying on the ground
Yeah,
during
that we've
an
both
extremely
seen
hot day.
with our
Yeah,
own eyes.
yeah, many times.
Yeah,
Like, I wonder what would have happened then. Probably nothing. Nuts.
really sad.
Super sad. I've never heard of that either. So,
Also made me really uncomfortable that there was a murder weapon tossed into the moat at Sleeping Beauty's castle.
yeah, as soon as we're throwing murder weapons and discarding bloody clothing, I think the magic is gone temporarily, but I think it's gone. And that's okay for right now. There's bigger things on our hands.
Literally
My goodness.
crazy. Moving on to our next tragedy. Have you heard of Dolly's Dip?
I have heard that term without having context or knowing what it was referring to.
Okay. So the term Dolly's Dip is referring to one of the hills or dips that occur on the Matterhorn. This one is specifically on the Tomorrowland side. And this it got its term from the 1984 incident where Regina or Dolly Young fell out of her car and was hit by another bobsled, and she ended up passing away. And
Mhm.
so they kind of named that area where she passed, where she fell out, as Dolly's Dip. And there have been cast members report that they have felt like a supernatural presence while operating the attraction, and that there had been like workers' lights that had been functional in that area and then weren't functional there anymore. I'm sure they've been fixed by now, but pretty spooky, pretty
Hmm.
spooky. And she was sitting in the back of her cart, so her family didn't even know that she had like even fallen out, until they arrived back at the station.
My goodness, that's so scary. And you do kind of zip through that entire ride pretty quickly. So it makes sense that if you were to come out of a vehicle, you're left behind because it's just a bobsled
Mm-hmm.
rushing down the mountain.
Mm-hmm.
There's not really a break area,
Right.
or there quite literally isn't, I should say. It's interesting. I guess the Matterhorn has more kind of eerie things going on in it than I would have thought of, because also that I'm going to describe it wrong, but it's like right where the tracks split, I think. They have that display that it looks like something's been like crashed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I know that is a tribute to somebody, I want to say either like an Imagineer cast member, in how they died was very tragic and in like a ski accident or something. I'm not going to remember the exact story right now, but it's very interesting to see that be chosen as their tribute when that is also how they passed away.
Yeah, and that's not even the first death that occurred on the Matterhorn.
Oh, there's more?
There was, yeah, there, I didn't make note of it, um, because the one that happened first, a young man had unbuckled himself and stood up,
Oh,
and that's why, um, he was injured. But if you're ever wondering why Disney is so anal and crazy about pulling on your dang yellow tab, it is because they had to install safety features where you can't just unbuckle yourself, until the ride has come to a stop. And they want to make sure that you are buckled in and that they see you totally buckled in before they let you go on this ride and that you can't get unbuckled from it.
so next we have the Haunted Mansion hearse, and I have little tidbits about the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland and in Disney World. I kept wanting to say Orlando. I was like, that's very specific.
I love the hearse.
It's a very cool little feature. I don't think we mentioned it in our Haunted Mansion episode.
No, I don't think we talked about it at all.
Huh. Well, we're
Missed
talking about it now.
opportunity, but yeah, here we are now.
The Disneyland hearse was added in 1995 when the Haunted Mansion was refurbished. It is a horseless drawn hearse. So, usually this type of hearse would be driven, for lack of a better term, driven by somebody and a horse. Whereas this one, you're missing both the driver and the horse, but you can still hear how horse sounds if you listen closely.
It's a ghost horse.
Yeah, we've all seen the Haunted Mansion movie, right? They show the ghosts in that one.
Yeah.
But this hearse was decked out for a funeral and placed adjacent to the queue near the entrance of the attraction. Now it can be seen just as you join the queue, just to your right hand side. It's hard to miss, but now it's like in a better spot if you want to get photos.
Hmm.
For whatever reason, this hearse has a backstory that's been embellished and kind of become an urban legend. It wasn't something that I knew about until I started reading this or reading about different, you know, um, tragedies and interesting, kind of darker things at Disneyland. But this backstory is that it was once used to usher the body of Brigham Young from his funeral to his burial spot all the way back in 1877.
Hmm.
Yeah. It does seem like it is a real 19th century hearse, but there's no evidence to suggest that this story is true. What I like, some more that I had read is that it said that Brigham Young, for those that don't know, he was the leader of a Mormon church or the Mormon church for quite some time. I
Hmm.
don't know really that much about it. That's where like the name of the university comes from. But I guess there's some stories that he was brought to his funeral or his burial site in a white hearse, but I guess there's no actual evidence of that. Um, Obviously, there's not like photos of this, but it's all just a story, and I guess that makes it spooky. The real story, however, is that it was bought from somebody in Malibu.
Hmm.
The Disney World hearse, so in the Magic Kingdom, it also has an urban legend attached to it. Some believe that, or at least it's been a rumor that's been spread, that the hearse held or still holds the remains of Bobby Driscoll. So the story is there's real remains in there. Of course, this isn't true. That would be wild, a wild choice to make for somebody. Not sure why this person was chosen to be that body, but Bobby Driscoll he was a child actor in 1949's Song of the South, and then also in 1950's Treasure Island, and he's also the voice of Peter Pan.
Peter.
Yeah. So maybe just because of his close relationship with Disney movies, I'm not sure.
Interesting.
Yeah, but of course this isn't true. So let us know if you've heard either of these stories in the past or if you've heard different backstories about the hearse, because I thought that was very interesting that they both have some weird little urban legend attached to it.
Yeah, that is interesting. Definitely not something that I had ever heard of before, so
Mm-mm.
weird. Okay, this next one, is so sad, and I don't know, I've never heard about this one.
On November 27th, 2009, a computer glitch on It's a Small World left a quadriplegic man. His name is Jose Martinez. Do you think it's okay that we say his name? It's public knowledge.
I think that's okay.
Okay. Was stuck on the ride for 40 minutes, which that sounds excruciating to me. Cast members were able to immediately evacuate all the passengers except for um, Mr. and Mrs. Martinez because he was on there with his wife. Martinez sued Disney for not having proper procedures in place to evacuate people with disabilities. He also claimed that the blaring music exacerbated his medical condition. And then in 2013, he was awarded $8,000 for suffering.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. And it was Haunted Mansion, not Haunted Mansion. It's a Small World holiday.
Yeah, 'cause November 27th, yeah.
Yeah. So not for anybody that's like very averse to It's a Small World song. Maybe this doesn't sound as bad to you because it's holiday music, but they changed the music, right? Am I crazy?
No, they don't.
Okay, I'm crazy then. I thought that no?
They're still singing It's a Small World.
Oh. Why did I think they were singing? I don't know.
I think there
That's
might
okay.
be like a holiday song in there, but it's
Okay.
not all. So I would like to know where he was broken down, what scene.
At the very end.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think since they're able to evacuate everyone else, maybe I don't know if they were just at the end or if like their boat had been pushed forward. Maybe not if they weren't able to push it all the way forward. But I know that they were saying it was like right near the end there.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
That's unfortunate. That would
Yeah.
that would stink, but got a good payout, so.
Yeah. I I mean, I feel bad for this couple, but also it woke Disney up, hopefully, to make these things accessible for people with disabilities. Like, what if something more dramatic was going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Like, would that person be in danger? But not to go the worst case scenario, but I feel like that's important, right?
Absolutely, yeah. And they're like I know for certain rides, if you're getting on with a disability, they will clarify with you, are you able to get in and out of this vehicle in such and such seconds? Are you able to use like stairs in case of an emergency? And if you're not, I don't think you're able to ride the ride, which stinks. But that is important because you would rather not ride the ride than potentially be stuck on it for who knows how long.
Yeah, 100%.
So this next one, I think I heard about. So this happened in Toontown in 2013. There were two small explosions in trash cans in the Toontown area of the park that caused an evacuation. The cause of the explosion was a bottle filled with dry ice, and it was done by 22-year-old cast member who worked at one of the outside vending locations within Toontown. He actually did confess to the action and was held on a $1 million bond and then eventually was sentenced to a misdemeanor. It was an isolated incident with unanticipated results and stupid intentions, definitely. Toontown was reopened after an investigation by the Anaheim Police Department bomb squad, which took about 3 hours, but no other areas in the park were impacted and no guests were injured. Stupid idiot.
Dude, for real. Why would you do any of these things? Like good on him for confessing because that's absolutely ridiculous and it's good that he wasn't, probably charged more severely,
Yeah,
but still, like you don't know if somebody could have gotten hurt and why? What weird science experiment are you doing?
weird.
Weird. I don't know. I couldn't find that much information about it, but what I did see was that some people were reporting that they had to like evacuate the park. Like, no. It was two trash cans in Toontown, and everyone was okay. But scary.
That is scary. Yeah, something in a trash can just starts exploding next to you while you're in like arguably the area of the park with the most children. Yeah,
Oh my
that's
gosh,
scary.
that's a good point. Yeah. Jeez Louise. My first thought, I was like, oh no. And it would take them so long to get out of there because then they have to run to the front of the park. I was like, well, if something were to happen, they would, go to the backstage area, right?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Nuts.
Number nine is, man,
Talk about
still sad
tragedy.
about this one. Yeah.
Guys, it's the phantasmic fire. It's it.
Oh,
It's the death of our poor Murphy.
rest in peace.
Murph. On April 22nd in 2023, during the 10:30 p.m. performance of the show, the animatronic dragon, our beloved Murphy, caught on fire. It became engulfed in flames. It was pretty wild seeing some of like the I think most of the footage I saw was from TikTok, but
Mhm.
everyone's like sitting quietly, just like realizing that more and more fire is
Yeah,
consuming this poor animatronic.
yeah.
The whole like New Orleans Frontierland area was evacuated, but no injuries were reported. Except for there were a few reports of cast members having some like being treated for smoke inhalation, and I
Mhm.
would assume that those are the people that would have been closest to it, maybe trying to extinguish something. But everyone's okay, except for Murphy. One casualty that day, just one. All of the fire effects used throughout the Disney parks were canceled. Not canceled, but like disabled out of caution. So not just Disneyland, but all the parks. Have you seen the footage of this?
Yes, and it seems like there were like three distinct explosions.
Oh,
Like you see like the initial one, and then there's like another explosion where you get more fire, and then like a final explosion with more fire, and it's so sad to watch. And then of course you hear the announcement due to unforeseen circumstances. Tonight's showing of Phantasmic has been canceled.
like so casual. You're like staring at the dragon on fire. Oh,
Yeah.
is it canceled? Oh man.
I'm just so thankful that everyone made it out okay, except for obviously Murph, but
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think when I seen it, like what you're talking about, the when the fire, you would like noticeably see it getting bigger at some points. I kind of, I guess I assumed that maybe those were, it's still like firing at its like cues, like however it's
uh-huh,
programmed,
uh-huh.
because I think the fire was caused by like leaking fluid.
Mm.
That was my understanding at least, but I don't know a lot about fire or animatronics on a
Me
technical
either.
level.
Me either. Yeah,
That was just my assumption.
yeah,
But yeah, the announcement just it sounds so out of place in the middle of that. You're like, oh, okay. And then the music, like the regular music that would be
yes.
playing outside during that time, like not the fantastic music, comes on. It's like this feels cruel. She's dying.
And I know like reports were made that, it was really hard to get people to evacuate because everyone just really wanted to watch it go down,
Yeah. Oh my
which I
gosh.
don't blame people, but also let's prioritize our safety and get away, even though we're separated by a body of water, but so
Yeah, man, we're lucky for those rivers of America.
yeah, for sure. But I really just want Murphy back.
I know. I know. Me too. Maybe one day we'll get something as interesting.
Did you see the recent crash of the boats on Fantasmic in Disney World?
No. What?
Yeah,
Boat
so
has crashed?
two of the boats that like have the performers like
Oh,
collided with each other.
the
And
princesses?
yes, and you just see
Oh,
Belle fall down and Beast Ghost
no!
hits her. And for the rest of the performance, he's just like holding her and they're
Oh,
playing.
no!
It's really
They kept
sweet.
going?
They kept going.
Oh,
They kept
no.
going. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I think Ariel's boat and Belle's boat like collided with each other. Not like extremely dramatically, but enough of a like jolt to knock down poor Belle.
Oh no. I wonder how those are controlled. I guess that I don't know how I thought they were,
I
but
thought they were on a track. I totally
okay.
thought they were on a track, but no, they're not.
Mm. Or like how the I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. What did we just say? I don't know how fireworks. I don't know how animatronics work. I don't know how the rafts in Phantasmic work. Don't ask me. Sorry.
We're we're not these kind of experts. Sorry,
We're not technically I don't, every word I was gonna say would have made me sound so silly.
guys.
It's okay.
Do you
Oh,
know where Murphy got his name?
okay. So Murphy. Also, I'm like, I know people know what we're talking about. Phantasmic having a dragon. Yeah, it's Maleficent, right?
Right.
But it's Murphy. This is Murphy because of Murphy's Law. Are you familiar with that?
I feel like maybe if I went back to like science class.
I don't even know where Murphy's Law comes from, but I had a boss that would say that all the time. But basically like whatever can go wrong will.
Got it.
So there was it originated, I should say, from the repeated delays that Disneyland had to make when debuting the dragon,
Mm.
which happened in summer 2009. But it was due to just difficulties, just something going wrong here, something going wrong there, another issue back there. I think that's why they had such a. I really liked even the B mode of Phantasmic because, which is like when they do the like the water projections and
Hmm.
they do it of the dragon or of Murphy or of Maleficent. Which I mean, it still looks good. Of course, like the animatronic is awesome. Like Murphy is just so good, but I feel like because it was so notorious for things going wrong, they had to have a good B mode in its spot. But away from Disneyland for a moment, even the dragon in Disney World has had issues. So the one on the parade float
Hmm.
in 2018, the Maleficent dragon float during the fantasy parade burst into flames also. Yeah,
No.
yeah. I've seen videos of that too, and it's just like I mean, we've sat at parades going down Main Street, it's like that. But imagine then something is on fire. Like, no.
That's
Just
so
tragedy,
wild.
pure tragedy. R.I.P. Murphy, we miss you.
We do. Bring him back. Okay, for our final unfortunate event in Disneyland, going back to Small World, this was something that if you have been on TikTok in like the last year, you probably saw or have at least heard of. I know pretty much everyone I know is aware of this incident because it did happen so recently. But there was a man that stripped down and started climbing through the It's a Small World attraction on November 26th of last year, 2023. He got off of the ride while it was in motion, and once the park operators were made aware of the situation, the ride was stopped and they ended up shutting down It's a Small World for about an hour so that cast members could like inspect the attraction. And no one was like physically harmed, and the guest that committed this crime, um
Atrocity.
this atrocity, um
Assault on all the guests.
he was removed from the park and arrested. I don't know what ended up happening with this because clearly, like, there was some mental health
Mm.
issue going on. Nobody in their right mind would ever do this.
Eh,
So,
you'd hope.
if they're doing this, I'm just gonna say they're not in their right mind.
There you go. There you go. That's fair.
Like,
You're like, no, only somebody having a mental health issue is going to attempt to take off their clothes in the middle of a Disney ride.
yeah. Um, I don't know if this was like drug induced or what happened, but hopefully this young man got the help that he needed. I'm sure he's like banned from all of the parks
Oh my
forever
gosh.
because that's what happens when things like this happen. So, I also just wanted to mention like I've seen people getting out of attractions um like when they break down and stuff, and please just stay where you are. Like I have seen footage of a man taking his baby out and getting into the water of Pirates of the Caribbean because
What?
it stopped, and he was like, I'm not going to stay here with my baby anymore, like we're leaving.
Oh my gosh, I thought that you were saying like he was like dipping his baby in Pirates of the Caribbean,
No,
like into the water. I was like, ew,
no.
what are we
He just
doing?
like
Okay.
it broke down and he got out of the boat with his baby,
Oh
and yeah, just don't do that. I also saw someone dump their entire head into the waters at Pirates because they lost, I don't know if it was a bracelet or a ring or something, but that's gross, and there's no object that is worth that much. And if there is something that's that important to you, maybe don't bring it to Disneyland.
or like be very, very nice and very, very persistent with like like lost and found, right?
Yeah,
Like it's somebody will find it eventually. Like, sorry, you can't have it tomorrow. You dropped it.
yeah,
But you did that.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. I have like, I mean, I'll go on a Disney water ride, but I have like a weird phobia of Disney water or amusement park water, you know? Like the idea of dunking my head into Pirates of the Caribbean.
So gross.
I can't. I don't even like the water dripping on me that you sometimes get when you go under uh, what is it? The first lift hill in
Like Matterhorn
oh, the Big Thunder Mountain. The
and
Matterhorn too, sometimes you get splashed and it's like
yeah, I get wet on both of those rides for sure.
yeah. But also something about maybe I'm just a complete weirdo and everyone can tell me I'm a complete weirdo. It's fine. Wouldn't be the first time. But the idea of somebody like crawling around in a like a show scene within Disneyland creeps me out. Like crawling around like in a scene in a ride, standing
Please
there and
stop.
a live person. Huh?
Please stop. Like, and please stop doing that.
Oh my
Please don't
gosh.
do that.
Please don't do that. I don't want to see, I don't want to, I don't want that. Something about that is like, it like gives me the wildest heebie-jeebies. It's like kind of always been a fear in the back of my mind that I have to quiet every time I'm on. I love a dark ride, but I'm constantly like, what if I turn a corner and there's a human being?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
And I don't know why it I can't handle it. So if I saw that, that would be like my worst fear come true, especially a naked person, a naked man doing this. No, thank you.
Stop.
Stop. Stop yesterday. Don't even, today is too soon. You need to stop yesterday.
Yes, absolutely.
I honestly, I didn't watch a video of that happening, of this incident happening until like we started talking about this episode.
Mm,
Because I was like, I've always felt that way. But I have seen the videos of him being removed from the park. Have you seen that?
yes.
Literally a cop or security person on every one of his limbs
Yeah,
carrying him, like
yeah,
belly down, carrying him, arms, legs stretched out.
yeah.
Wild.
Wild.
More around them. It is kind of funny to see, but also like you did something very bad.
Very bad. And that wraps up this episode, you guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something new in Disney history. And I hope that this reminds you to be extra aware of your surroundings, what's going on around you. Keep yourself and your family safe everywhere you go. But sometimes we forget to do that in Disneyland because it is Disneyland and we feel safe. But just remember, things can happen no matter where you are.
Yeah. And if some of the things that we talked about are pretty rough, so please take care of yourself. If you're no sensitive at all to any of these hard, darker topics. I know that Shy and I, there are a few other incidences that we could have spoken about, but kind of left them out due to how uncomfortable it is to talk about when it's a place that we want to enjoy and we want to think about the good things that are there. But we did want to bring some to light, especially ones that caused change within the parks. But if there are any that you want us to talk about on a future episode or one that you know of that's especially niche, please let us know. Leave us a comment, send us an email, DM us on Instagram. But thank you so much for listening.
Yeah.
We post new content every Saturday, so please follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else you listen so you never miss an episode.
And don't forget to review and rate us 5 stars, share it with your friends, and subscribe to at Magical Happy Hour Podcast on Instagram. Megan, where can we find you?
You can find me on Instagram at Megan Creedon and on TikTok. But you're just going to have to go to my Instagram and find the link to that if you want to see me. Shy, what about you?
You can find me at Disney Obsessed Nurse on TikTok and on Instagram. And if you're interested in having a professional travel agent that specializes in Disney and Universal Studios plan your next vacation, you can find the link to my website in our podcast notes, or just email me at Cheyenne, SHYANNE, at vincentvacations.com. And we'll see you guys next week.
Cheers.
Cheers!